hello, I'm Shoutmute, and I'm here with Alex from Team APS. Say hello.
Hey guys.
And we are doing a tier list for Cross Duel's current UR aces, minus Supreme Machine Magnum Overlord, because he is just too new. And we're just going to start off with the release order as the game got from when it was in the beta all the way up to the current ones with the Joey Volume 1 set. So, first one up is Exodia. How do you feel about him?
Okay, so as a UR, initially Exodia looked really good. Like it was throwing a lot of people off in games. Like you, I played from the very beginning of games. I remember when Exodia was a whole problem because people didn't know how to deal with the fact that you were on a countdown now when it entered the game.
Yes.
Typically, play in the very first turn.
And then,
The
if
fact that it's a UR that you can play in the first turn, it's besides having the master skill that allows you to move its counter forward every time you draw a normal monster, and then once you hit 5, the game just ends. It's also a body you can put on the board that protects you.
yeah,
It's great.
Exodia is seeing played in a lot of other decks solely for the fact that it just sits in the back and is just there. The attack support, the countdown is a problem. And fun fact, if it's still there on the countdown happening, even if someone else has hit 0 life points, if Exodia is there with countdown 5, they still win the duel.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I won that duel. I won that freaking duel.
uh, Other than its master skill, is it has every single immunity skill.
Yeah, so while you don't even need most of them, because as a guardian monster, it's hard to interact with anyway. So you really need just destruction protection, really.
Yeah, it's the only one that really matters, and it generally fits in everything. It has the immunity skills, it has attack support if you want to buff your other guys, if you have the slots for it. Generally, you only need 2 slots, though, for Exodia.
And really, just one in some cases, because it's such a great monster by itself. Most people don't even really play it as their ace monster.
However, the only main issue with the card itself being a UR, and I feel like it should be at least an A, but not an S, because of the fact you are only playing normal monsters, and the best way to play it is not to have spells and traps.
Yeah, that's too simple for this game. It was really cute in the lower ranks early into the game, but we need to be serious about this. You're not going to get that many wins off Exodia once you start going up the ranks.
Yeah, once you hit gold, everyone understands that if it doesn't have destruction immunity, a Blue Eyes is being spent on it.
Yeah, and everybody except for me has blue eyes.
I also don't, because I just refuse to get him.
You can't just refuse to get him.
That's where you're
You
wrong.
get him one way or another.
Okay, next up, Dark Magician.
Dark Magician's really fun. Like you don't see it too often, but it does see play. How
It
do you feel about it?
I feel that Dark Magician, if you play him as your main guy, he requires the 3 slots for double wizardry, is with the other skills he has access to. The problem at that point, though, is that once he's gone, you kind of have to backpedal onto either a secondary monster that is qualified as a boss monster, or you're playing every card with wizardry, which is a little too high rarity for most people who are doing free to play.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people who will have like that Lila as one of their wizardry monsters alongside Dark Magician, and it can be a little surprising when you think that one of their other monsters is their real ace because they put all that wizardry on them in like the first turn or second turn, and you're thinking, okay, I take out this monster, it's over. And then like on turn like 6, Dark Magician comes out, and it's like, oh, they have like 4 cards in hand.
So, yeah, so that's why I was able to punch them in the face. They weren't able to
the thing
summon.
about the thing about Dark Magician though is that it's in late game, which is when I typically see it come out. It's very scary because they're playing spells that are augmenting the battlefield, but they're also burning you for each one with Dark Magician. And Dark Magician's got wizardry, so it's getting bigger too. So it's probably an attack mode about to swing before the game ends.
Yeah, as a late game threat, if you're a person with like 900 life points, you better hope they don't have 3 cards in hand.
Yeah, like it's Dark Magician can really change the flow of a game at the end, but I don't think it's very useful in the beginning.
So, where would you put Dark Magician on the scale of S to D?
Okay, So wizardry stats are pretty great. Strats are pretty great typically. So let's see. I'm gonna go Blade to Exodia.
Go next to.
I think Dark Magician is a worse card than Exodia, but a better ace than Exodia.
Alright, so on the A section, it's just gonna be after Exodia then.
Yeah.
With its burn effect not being terribly. It affects the late game. Early game, if you're doing it at the very beginning, you're probably playing him wrong.
Yeah, because that means your one trick is over.
Now, I think we can both. I think we can both agree that we can just skip to the rating section on this next card and just talk about why we feel this way. Is Blue Eyes an S?
Yeah. I mean, I hate Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, it's
The special skill lets you destroy a level 4 or lower monster. The master skill lets you destroy any monster.
yeah.
And it's not even one in its own lane. It can be any monster anywhere.
Yeah, so if you're about to win in someone else's lane, they could be like, oh, how about no?
And then they can summon the Blue Eyes on the other side of the board from you. So you aren't even the point. They're trying to kill somebody else with that Blue Eye, but they just want to stop you from winning. Or they want to cause someone else to hit you directly, which actually happens a lot.
It does. If you are the major threat, or if you're low enough in life points and they are high enough, or they just want to get second place, they can just outright kill the thing you're defending with to guarantee the duel ends.
Yeah, it's a horribly flexible card. And we haven't even talked about the other skills.
Which, let's be honest, you only need one slot on Blue Eyes to play him casually. If you want to go hard with Blue Eyes, 3 slots, you can play Crusher, you can play Attack Up, you can play Attack Supplement to get its 3,000 back slowly.
Yeah, that way your Blue Eyes can just run right through a lane. And yes, it can be destroyed, but the good news of Blue Eyes is you typically got what you wanted out of Blue Eyes the moment it hit the field.
Yeah, cards that have a one-time use and then its effect is done are the best in this game right now, except for a select few that we will get into. But yeah, Blue Eyes deserves to be S tier regardless. I don't think any card can even get ahead of it in terms of usefulness.
I don't think so. Nothing is as flexible. Exodia, I mentioned, was a card that you could have in your deck as your ace or just a card in deck. It's really good. Blue Eyes is also one of those, but it is the best of them all.
Yeah, until we get a new card, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon coming out soon.
I'm scared.
Everyone's scared. Alright, next card. Let's get away from the nightmares. Elemental Hero Neos.
Then why is the nightmare continuing?
What do you mean?
Annoying card in the beginning of the game. Because it was the first monster that could easily hyperspeed or high damage, like in the very beginning of the game.
Yes, its ability.
You need like 2 to 3 slots to make that happen.
Yeah, that's the hard part about him, is that he needs his 3 slots with his Master Skill, which gives you Speedy Summon. If you give him Speedy Summon, he gets Efficient Summon, which is the same thing. Oh god, I placed him. I mean, he probably is going to be there, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a one-trick pony, but the trick is nice.
Yeah.
Because it also reincarnates back to hand every time it's destroyed.
By
Master skill, special skill.
the main problem with those skills is that if they specify battle.
Yeah, so if you Blue Eyes it, well, it sucks to be the Neos player.
Blue Eyes, Mirror Force, Dark Hole. Basically, if you don't get that middle card, he's very fragile.
The good news is you're gonna get the bonus card a lot with Neos.
Yeah. On top of the fact, your only fear after that point is Seal.
Yeah, Seal would suck. But Seal only has to... Oh wait, no, Seal would turn off all your effects.
Correct. There's only one skill that still works after Seal, and I'll get into that when we get to that card. However, Neos is very much one-trick pony man. If this was a raid tier list, he'd be all the way in S. Because Neos is a raid monster.
If it can recover that well, that often, you always have high attack whenever you want it, because you don't have to tribute something with 1 tribute when you bring it back. You can just use 2 summons and be at full attack points again. So yeah, Neos is great for raids.
Now, the next card, it's Ojama King.
Okay, yeah, drop that a bit lower, please.
Are we talking like 1 tier or 2 tiers?
I don't know yet.
Let's put
It's not high.
Alright, we'll hold him down here for a minute. How do you feel about Ojama King?
Ojama King is a great card, but not like everything else that have been great cards in any shape or form. It's a weird one, right? Because its master skill lets you lock up all three of your opponent's. Well, I think two of them, and
No.
locks up on all three.
It locks up all 3 skills of one player. All spots.
Okay, yeah, all 3 lanes for one player. That is assassination. But like, you have no control over really how that goes down. You're just locking up your zones.
This is also the first monster where the summoning mechanic actually matters, because if you want to fusion summon him, it has to be 3 level 3 or lowers.
That's a bit rough, but not impossible, because Cross Duel does have lots of level 3 and lowers to use for it.
Yes, the problem being if you're using them, your deck probably is already suffering.
Yeah, level 3 and lower monsters are not great in this game, because the main strategy is high number and go burr.
The most use that I've seen out of an Ojama King is being used in normal summon Exodia decks, because he's just a big butt.
I've seen it used in other decks as well as just a blocker. Yeah, just put it in defense mode. It will stop most things, and you can be safe behind it as long as you gave it position switching protection. Like, if it gets put in attack mode, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, or if they use shield and sword.
Yeah, or shield and sword. Like, those are not great things for Ojama King. And they're pretty popular things to do to people.
I feel like in terms of being an ace monster or just other people's decks, it probably does deserve to be in the D tier.
I think it does. Like, I saw in one of my games a couple days ago, I want to say, someone Ojama King'd in a really tense game, and he just caused someone to be annihilated. But I won that game, not him. Ojama King doesn't help you that well. It just kind of...
It mixes with someone else.
Yeah, like, it's a cool card. It's just not winning. It's not going to help you win. And that's what I think Ace Monsters need to do at the very least.
Speaking of ace monsters that help you win, it's time for your current pet deck, correct? Stardust!
Yep, Stardust Dragon. So, Stardust is a okay card. It wasn't all that great up until recently when they changed some of its abilities around so that it actually was useful.
Yes, its ability giving all of your level 3 and lowers card destruction immunity actually meant that Blue Eyes couldn't just look at them and be like, oh no, it's gone now. Blue Eyes now is like, oh.
Yes, so one of the nice things that Stardust has become is it actually counters Blue Eyes. Not literally a real counter, but it protects from Blue Eyes. So Blue Eyes players can't do too much to a Stardust player. And that's really, really nice. And just because of that defense against Blue Eyes, I would definitely say Stardust has risen in the tiers from B to A.
Yeah.
Low A, though.
Lower A, though. I would say it's above Dark Magician at the very least.
I don't want to say so, because you don't really build around Dark Magician all that much anyway.
Yeah.
When you play Stardust, you're building around Stardust.
The main issues with Stardust, as with the next card, is that it is a synchro monster, and its main strategy does not let the levels line up in your favor most of the time.
Yes, so unlike Red Dragon Archfiend, which is also a level 8 synchro monster, you can easily just play 2 level 4s in a Red Dragon deck. You don't want to play much of any level 4s in a Stardust Dragon deck. Yeah, you can play some, but if you play too many, then what was the point of putting Stardust in your deck?
Yeah, Stardust, it's very hard to summon. Its skills benefit you summoning a ton of other monsters, but its immunity skill that it has isn't card destruction immunity.
Yeah, but Seal Immunity is really good too, because its best skill in some cases, isn't even its master skill. Because I think it's Cohesion, and it has 2 of it.
Yeah. You can only play one with skill and negation, but yes, with Cohesion, this boy can get really big, and your only worry at that point is if the Blue Eyes player goes, I'll just blow up your dragon.
Yes, and I think that's why it's important to still consider running Shield Handler if you're going to play Stardust, because the deck still needs your Stardust to live.
Yes, and then the other main issue I see with Stardust is it's one of, I think it's the deck that has the highest requirement for SR cards.
I think it does because with its summoning conditions, you really want to play at least Junk Synchron in your deck, which I don't even have.
And Junk Warrior.
Yeah, Junk Synchron just to make sure you can get your monsters back that you use for the Synchro Summon. Junk Warrior because once they get rid of Stardust, because if you're unlucky, they will get rid of Stardust. You need something to help win a game. And those level 3s aren't going to do it at all. You need Junk Warrior.
You need the man.
Attack points for every level 3 or lower in your graveyard, which admittedly, because you're reincarnating, may not be terribly much, but it will be a lot. Yes.
Now, the next card is kind of a counter to Stardust in the funny fact that you're playing Stardust in defense position a lot of the time. It's Red Dragon Archfiend, not Scarlight.
Yeah. But yeah, Red Dragon Archfiend's a pretty cool monster. I definitely see it getting played a lot, but rarely as an ace anymore.
Yeah, I have 3 slots on him, and I made a deck that was just him, and it works pretty good enough. The problem is that it kind of lacks the power once people realize they shouldn't be playing stuff in defense mode, because we don't have a card like Level Limit Area B or Gravity Bind or anything like that that forces everything to defense mode. If we get a card like that, though, I'm going to put him higher, but I do think already he deserves to be in at least a B tier.
Yeah, I think it's what there's a tier. There should be a tier for ace monsters that only really shine if you also have a Blue Eyes in your deck.
Yeah, Scarlight drastically. I mean, that would just, yeah, close enough. Effectively, that would be every deck, though. Every deck benefits from a Blue Eyes.
That is a fact, viewers. That's why it is in the S tier and no one else.
We might change that in a bit. We don't know yet.
We might change that. But there's a reason it's up there because that is the ace of aces.
Yes.
Get yourself a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
If you're, yeah. If you start in the game, pick him.
With Red Dragon for a bit.
Yes, Red Dragon.
Talk about what it does.
AoE board wipe on its master skill. Every battle phase, its normal skill is on summon, and at the end of battle phase, blow up all defense mode monsters, which is really good.
I was so used to its normal skill that when someone actually propped the master skill on me twice in a game, I was so surprised I thought it was the normal skill.
No.
I didn't even know what the master skill did, and it threw off my entire game.
The master skill forces everyone to be in offense mode because of that. The main problem is that his skills don't really benefit you doing that. Like, he has Intimidation and Pierce, which is good, but the problem is they'll just put a monster with high attack and low attack and high defense in front of it if they want to meet it halfway.
Yeah, like Red Dragon shines really well in the very beginning of a game when no one's expecting it. People like to play things defense just to be careful of people hyperspeeding them. Yeah. So I find Red Dragon has been the most impactful in the very beginning. Throw it out, blow some stuff up, and then put it in attack mode and move on. But later game, you're not really. People are trying to win, so like they're not playing this defense mode that much, and your destruction effect happens at the end of the battle phase, so it won't clear a lane for you.
Yeah, once you get towards turn 7 and 8, his effect is not going to help you because everyone's clamoring to get either first place or try to keep their own life points high.
That said, Crusher and Piercing will... Provoke and Piercing will help in the late game.
He doesn't have Provoke. He has Intimidation.
Intimidate, sorry. They do help, though, because you can cheat out some life point damage. That's not bad. It's 3,000 attack points. It's like for stat-wise, that's an excellent monster. It's just the abilities don't really work together.
It's boneless Blue Eyes.
You're either being tricky and summoning him in defense mode, but you gave him a destruction protection, or you're just gonna use him to rush the opponent's lane a bit. That's really it.
Next man's on this list is number 39, Utopia, who, I'm going to be honest, is a lot scarier than people give him credit for.
I don't even truly understand why I don't see it played more. I have my hypothesis, but like,
I will say,
I haven't seen it played enough to understand it.
I'm going to say right now, he probably goes above Exodia in the A tier, just below Blue Eyes for its scariness factor. but it doesn't hit S tier because we just don't see it enough for it to make it that far.
Yeah, I think the main thing that holds Utopia back is that its main skill, um, every time it destroys a monster, it gains an attack down debuff on anything it fights
Times 3.
times three. So, yeah, after you destroy your first monster, if your opponent is trying to contest the lane it's in, they're going to fail. You
Unless
can't contest this thing's lane. You have to put something in defense mode and let it hit that.
the only thing that truly contests this is Ojama King.
Yeah. And the issue with it is, unlike something like Blue Eyes that can just win a game because it popped a monster at the right time, which happens a lot, Utopia's is going to walk up onto your opponent and destroy things along the way, but it itself will almost never actually hit your opponent directly.
The major way that Utopia becomes a problem is if Battle Mania gives it Provoke, which will definitely win you the game at that point. There is nothing your opponent can do to stop that.
Yep, you need to play Battle Mania with it because you need your opponent to think they're safe. They need to show them how they're not.
The moment it has Provoke, they are losing.
Yeah, it's actually very similar to Stardust, and I have the same critique for both in that respect. Where while Stardust gets really big and can run a lane, Utopia makes everyone really small in one lane. But neither one is going to deal damage unless you get tricky about it.
And then, of course, its immunity skill is not going to protect it from Blue Eyes because it has immunity to bounce.
Which people don't bounce with.
Yeah. Uh, Next up, number 17, Leviathan Dragon.
Okay, so how low do we go with this?
I would say it's above Ojama King at minimum.
Definitely above Ojama.
I'd s-
It's a fine, cute monster that should have been SR.
Yeah, I think it deserves to be in C tier because of what it does, and also it doesn't have nearly enough support to enable its plan.
Yeah, so it gives all your monsters focus. It can trigger all the focus as well, so focus will give them all, I think, 200 attack. I
Get,
think they changed it too.
yes,
Focus is more now.
they give it an extra 100 on top of that.
Yeah, so it's pretty great for a focus themed deck. And focus is a strong skill, in my opinion.
Yes,
I mean, I rely on it in Stardust because level 3 and low.
especially with Big Jaws being able to give any focus creature the ability to slip past everything. So if you send this towards someone and it's big enough, if you summon Big Jaws next turn, the only thing that's stopping it from killing them is the middle card and Blue Eyes.
That's true. And you think people would play it more, but you're not really seeing it.
It's because most people aren't going to be playing level 3s and lower unless it is Stardust, unfortunately.
Because level 3s and lower are still too weak to truly feel competitive.
Until we get...
But you don't get that help in Leviathan. If your monsters get destroyed in that deck, they're not coming back, and they're most likely going to be destroyed off.
Jerry Beansman for 2023, let's go. 1950 attack vanilla, let's go. Alright, next up, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon.
Okay, so I really like what Odd Eyes does. I think the pendulum mechanic works rather well if it just had more cards that comes with it.
Yes.
But its special skill and master skill are very strong attack stuff. Like, once you get it off, it changes the flow of the game.
Yes. If you're playing it as your ace monster, it gives them all 800 attack and defense, and card destruction immunity, while the normal skill, if you pendulum summon it, which is required for both of them, gives just 800 attack and defense. The main issue with that being that once you... to meet that requirement, you're losing skills because you have to have pendulum skills.
And all the monsters that have pendulum skill only have that one skill, so... And one of the problems is some of the monsters that have pendulum skill have really good skills you want them to use otherwise.
Like Performer Pal Turntoad, which has the effect of shield and sword on summon.
Yeah, that can change the game. And I think it's Stargazer Magician? No, it's not Stargazer. I can put this up.
Yes, Stargazer Magician gives on all your monsters on summon a card destruction immunity effect.
Yeah, like that's too good of an effect to be losing for pendulums, man.
I would say for versatility and his general own power, we put him in A above Exodia and below Utopia. He also only
I'd say
requires.
above Utopia just because
Oh,
he played more.
that is true. He has played more.
Because like it's one of those cards that you can play as both your ace or just in your deck.
Yes,
And because of the way pendulum mechanics work, you can summon it without tributing anybody, so your hand's a lot safer when you're playing without it.
especially with the fact that the spell card Duelist Alliance, while it helps you get the other scale, that's that's all it does.
It can also be a total dead draw.
Yeah, pendulums did not do as well on release in Cross Duel as they did in real life. Next up
It's not bad.
is Bloom Diva, the Melodious Diva.
Okay, so sadly, I've got to rate this one on the lower side.
Is it above Ojama King?
You know what? I don't know. I want to say above it because healing can still win a game.
Yes, but I do think it deserves to be above it in this sense where it's just in front of Ojama King.
Yeah, because in a simpler fashion, it's all about defense with that. But you know what defense doesn't do? It doesn't deal damage. And how do you win a game? By
Damage.
damage.
Yeah,
If you can't claim those lanes and run somebody's numbers down, they'll probably be trying to run yours down, which luckily won't be easy to do because you're healing and have high defense.
the main thing that I have an issue with Bloom Diva is the fact that its card effect is crazy if it did literally anything else. Because of the fact it says a 1-to-1 ratio for all healing, turn it to defense. If that was applied to any other effect, like attack gain, or speed, or like any other skill, you just win the game on the spot.
Yeah, it really makes healing useful because healing is cute, but really you should not really be playing recovery effects if you're not going to make it work for you.
If you're playing a burn deck, you should be playing heal effects, but you're not going to be playing Bloom Diva because of the fact you don't have space for it.
Yeah, so if you're playing her, it's a dedicated heal deck.
You're playing just her.
And dedicated heal decks will look really impressive, but yeah, you're not pushing for game, and you can make yourself not lose, but you're probably not getting first.
You'll at least maybe consistently get second because nobody wants to deal with your shenanigans.
Yeah, like it's very potent to have a huge board of large defense boxes out. People will stop attacking you because they won't see a point
Unless they have blue eyes.
unless they have blue eyes.
In which case you are losing the duel now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, blue eyes, that's my rest here.
Next one, Firewall Dragon. And I do believe, even though it isn't played too much, it does deserve to be an S tier for just how powerful its effect is.
I think it needs to be only an A tier because it's
Huh?
not played enough to show that.
That is fair.
I think
We don't have a tier in between.
I think maybe the problem with Firewall is that I think it has a high SR requirement, right?
Let's see. It has Link Karibo, it has Decode Talker, and it has Backup Secretary. So it has the same issue as Stardust Dragon.
Yeah, and one of the things is that the SRs in the deck don't really do anything for it all that much. They're just really good stuff that help its deck out. So what exactly is a Firewall Dragon then? Well, it's a deck where you collect Link arrows and makes the Firewall Dragon. What's Firewall want to do? Hyperspeed and bounce something. It
Which,
will do that very well by itself, but the rest of the deck only kind of help it do that.
since you have to have the Link monsters, which there are a decent amount, but there's only, let's see, Link Karibo, Decode Talker, Holly Angel. I'm pretty sure those are the only Link monsters we have.
Yeah, and I find Link summoning can be pretty hurtful in the hand. Like, I only own Decode Talker. Actually, I don't own. I don't own.
You have all of the cards for this deck.
Except for Firewall, since my. But I was trying to play Link
It's
I'm gonna tribute a monster for a level, well,
a Link 1,
creating one Karibo.
which can't even get reincarnation.
Yeah, and Firewall doesn't need that. Like it likes the link arrows in the graveyard to get its full effects, and I think that's the problem. Loading up their field and graveyard with link arrows is probably pretty tough to pull off.
It's even harder than Odd Eyes. Actually, you know what? He's going below Odd Eyes for that exact sentence I just said.
Honestly, I want to put him below Utopia. I don't have to go much lower than that.
Yeah.
I find Utopia to be simpler to use, and you get the benefit of it. With Firewall, it is so crazy powerful, but I just don't see it going off of it enough.
And then, let's see. The other Link monster I just mentioned, Trickstar Holly Angel.
Okay, I like Holly Angel a lot. I see it played fairly a lot, too. Not as much as some of our more aggressive URs, but I want to offhand say somewhere between low A, high B.
I'd say probably above Red Dragon, but below Neos.
Fair. Neos has more utility. You see Neos played all kinds of
Yes. Holly Angel.
Neos is utility. Should we move Neos up? Neos is played a lot of ways.
Put him like at the very end of behind Dark Magician.
I think so, because Neos is played even as a common card in the deck, and not even your 8. People do it all the time.
That is true. But Holly Angel, same issue that Dark Magician has in some cases. It's a burn deck that does do burn a lot better than Dark Magician. But the problem is that Snipe is very hard to handle with.
Yeah, like, it's a situation where you're going to deal very high damage for a while, but it's not going to win you the game.
Yeah.
You can end the game with it though, and that's still nice.
Oh yeah, if you get a Holly Angel out last turn and you just spam out all of your guys with a reload, you're probably not losing the game, but you're probably not getting first.
Yeah, because somebody who had a more aggressive strategy that had blue eyes probably was getting all life point damage in already.
Mm-hmm.
What works really well with her is she's great just sitting in defense mode.
Which is a terrible idea.
Yeah, because she can get destroyed.
No,
you can run lanes with your other snipe monsters because they tend to have decent attack.
You know what the main issue with putting a Holly Angel in defense mode is?
How much defense does it have?
It's a Link monster.
Oh god!
It has 0.
I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
I've seen someone have it in defense mode. I kid you not. I've seen it.
They were too scared to send it out.
I would be too, because once it's gone, but also the deck you put it in can be fairly whatever you want.
It's one of the few decks I'd say you probably put Bloom Diva in. It's because they're already fairy monsters, and that's the fusion requirements for Bloom Diva. Alright.
Also, she benefits having a blue eyes.
Yeah, amazing. How else would we have known that? Also, here we go. The first other UR that actually can safely say go to S tier. Seven Roads Magician.
Yeah, below blue eyes, but Seven Roads in the Inventor strategy is a top tier strategy and a top tier UR monster.
Yep, just because of the fact they changed Inventor recently, so that Inventor now triggers at 3 instead of 4, meaning you're accelerating it and you can play less bad Inventor cards like Ojama Green.
Yeah, I believe now you can have a fairly strong Seven Roads first turn. I wouldn't because it's not going to be nearly strong enough and you're going to waste it. But you could.
Actually you can't. Seven Roads won't get so this is a thing important to the Inventor strategy, is that if the third summon is Inventor, it doesn't read as if it was the third summon.
That's why it failed on me that one time.
Yep. If a monster, even though it says 3 or more, if you summon 3 Inventors turn 1, the game does not recognize that you have summoned 3 Inventors because it will count them up at the same time. It will be 0 when it reads. Yeah. However,
people have their immunities on it. Easy. And I'm gonna start off. I've got like 2 immunities and like mid lane and like 3,000 something attack.
Yeah, Venter's weird like that. However, 7 rounds, funny enough, has the same issue with Stardust, but they're not as mandatory for the cards that give you Inventor benefits. Was
Yeah, that's true.
7 roads Witch and 7 roads Mage.
Those are very, very good SRs for the strategy. Like, Witch grabs you two,
It,
of them, but
it,
two Inventor monsters from your trash.
it was one before.
It was one before.
And 7 roads Mage lowers a monster by 300 every time you've triggered Inventor, I believe.
And we can't forget about the trap card.
Oh yeah, the most broken trap card in the game currently still. Dark Revelation. Minus 1500 to every monster coming at you if you've activated Inventor 3 or more times, because that also got lowered.
Yeah, like I haven't seen any monster in this tier list that has such a wonderful package around it.
Yeah, the only other deck that has a good trap or spell that benefits it is Leviathan in the fact its trap triggers all focus, but that's not going to do nearly as much as minusing 1500 from every other monster coming at you.
I want to say Scrum Force for Stardust in third place.
Yes, Scrum Force is very solid just because of the fact that it makes Optic Camouflage not do anything.
Yeah, being able to buff up level 3s to actually respectable attack points and not be able to have that attack and defense changed by your opponent, yeah, you want that.
Yeah. Next boy, I'm afraid that Leviathan's getting a friend here. It's Multi-Strike Dragon Dragaius. Its master skill is every monster gets extra attack, which isn't bad. The problem, how are you accomplishing that?
You have no way of sneaking in an attack with this card. It doesn't help you do that at all.
It runs into an issue where if you've summoned a monster that's about to hit, you already know they're going to put a monster in front of it.
Yep. Which means you have to run other cards that help you get tricky about it. So you gotta provoke them. You've got to Battle Mania. You've got to
Final attack orders.
Or maybe one of your smaller guys, Optic Camouflage.
Or the classic good old reliable in Blue Eyes.
Yes.
But then you're tribute summoning 2 monsters.
But by itself, Dragons doesn't help its game plan at all. Really.
Which is funny in that the fact that the 2 cards that both have a global effect like that are the only 2 in the same tier.
Well, Stardust.
I guess that's true.
They are aura effects.
They are aura effects. It's just that Stardust is significantly better than everyone's.
Yeah, it's funny how it's the 2 with offensive aura effects aren't good.
Yeah. Well, next up we got the 2 newer ones from being Joey's Red Eyes Black Dragon, who don't worry, these 3 are getting a friend. These 2.
I don't think it's that bad.
I would say it's better than Leviathan, but it does not deserve to be any higher than this.
Okay, let's pick it apart. So, the special skill and master skills deal with slowing down is it one monster or an entire lane?
I wish it was that. No, you target one monster. If it's the special skill, you give it 2 blaze and slowdown. If it's the master skill, you give it 3 blaze and 1 slowdown.
So, that's cute and powerful if your opponent lets it happen.
Yeah, like you're getting that immediate 600 damage if that's the only skill it has. If it's the same monster in the same lane as Red Eyes, you're giving it a total of 5 with double ignite on it. So they're losing 1,000 life points. But unless that monster is their ace monster, it's leaving the field.
Yeah, they'll probably find some way to get rid of it. Like, that's the obvious thing to do if someone tries to Red Eyes. And if they do that, your Red Eyes is basically useless because your Red Eyes' skills were done at that point.
The only other major benefit it would have is if you're in a situation where someone has like 200 life points left and you need them to be gone.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about Red Eyes is that no other regular monster can deal that much damage all at once on a single target.
Without having to hit.
That, yeah. So Red Eyes, I find, has a niche as a utility you are in a lot of different aggressive decks, where you just want to have some impact on one person's life points to make sure that the game flows the way you want it to, which means your way.
Yep.
So like, I found people love pitting Red Eyes in Blue Eyes decks because Blue Eyes was already a versatile monster. Red Eyes is only a versatile monster, really.
Yeah,
So it pairs well with just about anything, really.
you don't want to play Red Eyes as his own deck most of the time, even though I do have a list about that, because you definitely need all of his SRs to make him function.
You do, and one of the issues with Red Eyes and some of the other cards in the strategy is that they require something in their lane to even pop off. If you summon that and missed, what was the entire point?
Yeah, like let's imagine this funny scenario, right? Like, let's say you have Stardust, right, right, Alex?
Yep.
Okay, I summon Red Eyes, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna target that Stardust over there, and now he has 3 Blaze and Slowdown. That's amazing for me. The other person summoned a Blue Eyes, and they also targeted Stardust.
And your Red Eyes was totally ineffectual.
Yep. Which is only based on the timing of how all the skills work, which is an interesting topic for an entirely different video.
Oh yeah, I never considered that.
Yeah, every skill has timing. However, I'm just saying this as a general one. I think that this next one in XYZ Dragon Cannon deserves to be higher than Blue Eyes, not because of its current state, but for the future of machine support in general.
I think it's really, really, really good.
Yes.
It takes setup, but the setup is easy for the most part.
Especially with machine duplication being out.
You can play XYZ very early in a match at full power, nonetheless. A lot of people can be surprised by a hyper speeding 2900 monster
that has other skills that give it other things.
Yeah, its master skill is just nuts. Container is a crazy mechanic.
That's not Storage's skill. That's why XYZ's skill.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's why in its current state, XYZ is not good in that situation because Storage is a keyword skill that even VW has, but XYZ's master skill is what allows it to suck up common skills. And the main issue with our current lineup of machine monsters is we don't have good skills.
And see, that's something I just don't have much. I just don't notice because I don't have.
Yeah, I have him at 3 slots.
But like, it's great if you can make it work.
The moment we get more machines, it'll be better. Currently, though, it would die to a Blue Eyes.
It's also a one-trick pony in a way that it's worse than Neos in how one-trick it is. Because with Neos, you're gonna probably see that Neos like 3 times in the game.
Yeah.
XYZ twice at most, and it's gonna be late next time.
Yeah. However, it does deserve to be higher than Neos in the main fact that XYZ gives you back the resources.
Yes, that's actually part of the insanity of XYZ.
And this is the part I was mentioning with Seal. Seal does not stop Storage from giving you the monsters back.
Wow.
Yeah, Seal prevents Storage from triggering again, but it's already out, so Storage has already put the monsters inside of XYZ, so once it dies, it will give you all of them back regardless.
Yeah, it's actually very hard to stop XYZ from doing its thing. I found the only thing you can really do is try to trap it in its lane when you don't even know what's coming because it hyperspeeds at you.
There's very few ways to tell if it's coming at you.
Yeah, I got lucky the last time I played against it because I saw that he had a
Machine. He did a machine dupe.
Yeah, he machine dupe, so I knew it was coming to somebody, and somebody could easily have been me. So I put out a high defense monster and buffed its defense right before it hit, and I nullified its usefulness. But you don't get that lucky usually against it. You just don't.
You can't read it unless they machine dupe, because if it's just a regular XYZ, turn 1 it could come down because we have enough machine monsters. It's just we don't have enough for it to have good common skills.
Yeah, but a turn 1 XYZ that the opposing player didn't like prepare for will like screw up his entire game.
However, the funniest part about XYZ is its main downfall is if your opponents don't let it die.
See, that's an interesting point. It's hard to leave it alive because it moves fast and it's probably going to hit something, but it's usually too big to die on the first hit anyway.
Yes, but if it does die, your opponent's like, oh well, now he has his whole hand back, and I just lost 2,800 life points. But if they can weaken it to like maybe 200 attack points left, they're completely fine letting it just keep smacking you in the face.
Yeah, because it's just kind of there now.
Yeah, it
can't hurt you much more than that.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, let me play one healer.
And there's also things like Curse that really hurts XYZ.
Yep, if it runs into a curse down its lane, it's just gonna sit there, and then they can just let it sit there until either it dies from a different reason, or it dies from you using it for a material for something else.
Yeah, because XYZ really needs to hit fast and pierce. If it's not allowed to do that, it's a lame duck.
Yes.
A very good duck, but like, yeah, you can play around.
It will sit here until we get more machine monsters with more common skills, because it's the future of this one card that matters heavily on support.
Yeah, and we know we're getting machines in the next update anyway.
With super heavy Sams. Yeah. Oh, it should be cool. But yes, we have gone through every monster except for Supreme Machine Magnum Overlord, because we don't have enough information about him yet. However, I do know you don't like him for one reason.
Yeah. You know what I do like him for?
What's that?
Those attack animations are really good.
Oh yeah, no, that man's straight up a Mighty Morphing Power Ranger.
Like, Exodia got nothing on that. I'm sorry, Exodia.
You just sit there.
Yeah.
Actually, they didn't even give Exodia an animation for when you win with him.
They don't. You're right.
Man, they did him dirty.
They did.
Alright.
With this tier list. Let's see. I wish Stardust could be higher up. Like, maybe I would put it higher than Exodia, but Exodia is so ubiquitous in the game.
Yeah. Exodia does just get used more often than Stardust does because of the fact it can just sit there.
Yeah. Wait, should we move Exodia higher than Firewall because of how ubiquitous it is? Should we move it
Do we just put him back where he was at the start of this?
Maybe.
Do.
Because it's not like, it's unlike the other URs, it's not going to win you the game unless, well, but it's so good when it's not being used to try to win the game. It's doing something none of these other monsters can do by being a guardian monster.
Exist in a zone to protect you.
Like, I played a Stardust Dragon, and it has done wonders for my gameplay by being a level 3 monster that also doesn't take up one of my 3 lanes. There's so much good stuff you get out of summoning Exodia in attack or defense with any one of its skills that aren't protection skills on.
Yeah. Imagine someone played Exodia, but they just put 3 immunity skills on it.
Your opponents would groan.
They'd groan. I'd be impressed if you won, but they'd all be like, why? This isn't a challenge. Don't do that.
Yeah, seriously. It's really great. It deserves to be at the front of A. I only don't put it on S because Exodia is not doing anything itself.
Until we get... Because most of these probably will change in the future. I will save this as it is for if we get more support, or if changes to their skills happen, since they've already shown they are willing to actually fundamentally change how a monster or effect works.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about where Stardust was before. Stardust would have been right down in C, or maybe even in D.
It would have been over there hugging Bloom Diva to hide from Ojama King.
I'm pretty sure. But it's funny what a simple change can do. Like, Seven's Road was not bad before the change.
It was still strong before the change.
I actually don't even know why they made it better.
They're like, people are complaining about Inventor. Let's give it a buff.
I think part of it was they wanted to raise these new arms that could better contest blue eyes. They don't beat blue eyes, but they can gain the skills that help you play around blue eyes better.
Yeah. Well,
And I like it.
yeah. Well, we've gone through every single monster. We might be back in, like, let's see. How many sets do you think should be a good estimate? Like, maybe 5 after the Red Eyes one?
Yeah, they come pretty quick, and they're always like partial updates. So
Yep. 5 or 4. We'll be back if you all want to see more of that. Thanks for coming on again, Alex.
yeah, no problem. I live here.
Yeah, you live. You're part of this channel. You can't leave.
Oh god.
Maybe we'll do raid stuff, or maybe we'll also do deck list on your Stardust versus mine in a room battle to see which is better. See which one's better.
I know the winner's gonna be on the dark hole.
Oh, that's probably true. Alright. If y'all enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And also go check out Team APS. They did get to 500,000 subscribers recently, so let's go.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
And hope to see you all later.